All right, today we're unpacking a story that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. You've got a dream home, a huge pile of cash, and a really shocking accusation of betrayal. It all comes down to one single transaction, a deal that prosecutors are calling a flat-out swindle.
So let's just put a number on this. $750,000. I mean, for most of us, right, that is life-changing money. But here, it was a down payment. All of it was supposed to secure a beautiful home in Southampton, New York. You know, the Hamptons.
Here's the thing, though. That money, it never made it to the seller. Nope. Instead, the allegation is that it was just drained. Spent on things like gambling, personal luxuries, you name it, until there was nothing left. So the big question is, how on earth does $750,000 just vanish? To figure that out, we gotta look at the timeline.
Okay, so the whole case from the prosecution side really hinges on this 5-month period. It's pretty alarming when you see it laid out. Let's follow the money step by step.
Okay, take a look at this. It's pretty wild how fast it all unraveled. It starts totally normal, right? June? A client wires the money for a home purchase. You'd think, okay, my money's safe with my lawyer. But then, for the next 5 months, that cash is allegedly being siphoned off. So, of course, when the sale falls through in October and the client asks for their money back, which you would, it's gone. The whole thing. Vanished.
So obviously once the money's gone, things get serious. This thing blows up into a full-on legal battle. And now you've got two totally different stories being told. On one side, you have the prosecution's accusation, and on the other, the defense is just flat out denying everything.
And we're not talking about a slap on the wrist here. The formal charge is grand larceny in the second degree. In New York, that is a major felony. It kicks in when a theft is over 50 grand, and in this case, well, you do the math. We are talking about 15 times that amount. So yeah, it's serious.
This quote from the DA really cuts to the heart of it. They're saying this isn't just about stolen money. The key word here is betrayal. See, an attorney is what's called a fiduciary. It's a fancy legal term, but it basically means they have a duty to protect your interests above their own. So the DA's whole argument is that this fundamental trust, it wasn't just broken, it was absolutely shattered.
But then you have the defense, and they're painting a completely different picture. They're pointing to his long career, saying, hey, this guy was a prosecutor himself. He's a well-respected attorney. They are projecting total confidence, saying they believe he's going to be completely cleared when all is said and done.
You hear a story like this, and it's pretty shocking, right? It makes you wonder, is this just a one-off thing, a single bad apple, or could it be a sign of a bigger, more systemic problem? Well, the answer might actually be a little unsettling.
So if you start digging into the local reporting, especially from papers like Newsday that know the area inside and out, a really concerning pattern starts to emerge. Turns out, something like this happening, it might not be as rare as you'd hope.
Yeah, in fact, Newsday used the word plagued to describe how many similar cases have popped up on Long Island. And they also report that there's been little to no action from state officials to really clamp down on it. Now, there is a kind of safety net. It's called the New York State Lawyers Fund for Client Protection, and it's there to help clients get their money back if it's stolen. But think about it. The fact that a fund like this even has to exist, that kind of tells you this is a recurring issue.
So what happens now? Where does this whole thing go from here? Well, the legal process is far from over, and it leaves us with some pretty big, lingering questions about trust, accountability, and whether the systems we have in place to protect people are actually doing their job.
The immediate next step is another court date. It's set for April. I guess that's where the next chapter of this whole saga will unfold. We'll have to see if the defense's confidence is still high once they're back in front of the judge facing these charges.
And really, that brings us back to the biggest question in all of this. The true cost, it's not just the money, right? I mean, $750,000 is a staggering amount. But the real cost is the hit to our trust. We hire these professionals to protect us during the biggest moments of our lives, and when that trust gets betrayed, well, the damage is so much bigger than just a number in a bank account.